Just tell me about your brother in Long Lartin. You know, what goes through his mind? What does he do all day? How does he fight his campaign?
Talha, he's a poet too, so he recently published a poetry collection which A.L. Kennedy wrote about in The Guardian. That's a lovely article, and I'll ask everyone to read that. He wrote a poem about extradition as well, which you can find on the YouTube channel. And we often just talk about books. I'm an artist, and I thought I'd do this installation of all the books he'd read in prison. On the other hand, you know, the two consultant psychiatrists do say he's developed a depressive disorder, and one of the reasons we shouldn't extradite him to the US is because, like the Gary McKinnon case, and it was very misleading of Lord Carlisle to say Gary McKinnon's case is different. And I say this as someone who 100% supports his right to not be extradited, and 100% supports his inspirational campaigning mother. Talha's case, Talha's medical condition is exactly the same as Gary McKinnon. He has Asperger's syndrome, and he has an assessed suicide risk. This is all in the public domain. I know mental illness is a taboo in Asian families, sadly, and it carries a lot of stigma. But you know, if you know, an English guy, Gary McKinnon, Asperger's sufferer, gets a backing of the Daily Mail and celebrity backing, and I don't say this cynically, these people are good to support him, then
are you saying your brother's the lost one? Is he the lost one?
Talha's case has been off the radar, I've forgotten. The funny thing is, like, even the European Court of Human Rights spelt his name wrong as Celia. You know, you should know Saeed's a common Muslim name, and then all the Daily Mail and blah blah spelt his name wrong. They actually spelt his name wrong twice in the same article. Some of the reporting was just disgraceful, actually, because the worst thing is they just lumped it all together with the Abu Hamza case, which has absolutely nothing to do with.
Does this anger you? Because this European Court of Human Rights, it was, as you were saying a second ago, I mean, you feel it's like lumped together a number of so-called terror suspects. And do you feel that sort of, you know, that just has a negative impact on your brother's case?
Oh, of course it does, absolutely. You know, if you knew my brother, you know, even Majid Nawaz from the Killian Foundation, which describes itself as an anti-extremism think tank, he went to college with my brother, and he's written a testimonial saying Talha explicitly condemned criminal activities used to fund terrorism, and he said Talha's a quiet, sensitive, bookish man, and he's just emailed me recently saying he'll support his right to have trial in the UK.
I mean, that's a critical point you made. What has your brother said? What does your family see when they see happenings in Palestine, for example? Are you politically, a very aware family? Are you quite sort of forceful on the issue?
My mum and dad are like quite typical Bengali middle class parents. People who grow up in London. Today's Palestine Prisoners' Day, for example. Where there's thousands of people detained without trial or charge. Britain, why is this happening in Britain? Obama's been hate for like nearly 8 years. We're not living in like North Korea or somewhere. It's just disturbing that British law is changing like this. It's just.
But Hamza, what is your brother's? What is Talha's opinion? Does he have strong opinions? Is it when you go and see him at Long Lartin, is he talking about Palestine, or is he just talking about how mum and dad are?
We talk about really banal things. We even talk about computer games, and that because Talha's been detained so long, he doesn't even know what Facebook and Twitter are. Sometimes, we take all these things for granted. Sometimes, you even see like a little baby and it's crawling on the floor, and 5 years later, baby's like running around. It's sort of, you just see the passage of time pass. Sometimes we just talk about literature and poetry. Talha's no different from the majority of the British public who, you'd be against the Iraq War and occupation of Afghanistan.
But this accusation, Azam.com, raising money through a website for Mujahideen, is he simply denying that he has had no interest, he played no part in it whatsoever?
The right place to answer that question is in a British court of law.
But he must have given you some hint. People at home are saying there must be some basis for this, the American nation wanting your brother on American soil to face charges. Are they, they wouldn't just make it up. That's what people are saying. Some people are saying.
I'm sure people do think like that. You always think there's no smoke without fire, But, show the evidence, give him a fair day in court, British justice for British citizens. That's what we're asking for. And let him prove, everyone's innocent until proven guilty.
Okay, got a few texts and emails. This is from Rash in Coventry. Rash, thank you very much indeed. America is a bully and Great Britain is a puppet. Shame on us. Here's another one. Brother, our prayers are with you. There's another. It says, hi, I agree with the right to British trial. Look at the American soldier who shot lots of people in a rage. America wanted him to be tried in America. It's crazy, two-faced system. Here's another one from Shazia in Glasgow. It says, stay strong, brother. Our du'as and support is with you and your family. So you seem to be getting, and I've seen the website as well, that you do have a lot of people who are actually supporting, you know, Allah's, what you're saying, his right to a British trial in a British court.
Yes. Not only that, and also on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, but there's even a legal basis to try him in this country. There's a case called Shepherd and Whittle, which is also to do with websites, and that would apply to Richard Dyer's case. And I do urge every British Asian and Muslim to support the Richard Dyer case, which is the most ridiculous of the lot. But people's messages of support do actually, on the website freetalha.org, there is actually his address in prison, and do write a message of strength and hope and light. And not pity, because Talha's, a survivor. He survived. There was another prisoner in the extradition unit, because they're held in group isolation in a prison within a prison, called Haroon, who actually.
Haroon Aswat.
Yeah, he actually mentally broke down. He stopped consuming food. He went psychotic and completely mentally broke down, and then he's now in Broadmoor, sadly.
They were saying he's a paranoid schizophrenic now, and that he's been moved to Broadmoor, and obviously the ECHR has got to judge his case. Okay, if you've got text emails, you can call 08459 440 445, text 81869, email nahal@bbc.co.uk. Hamja Ahsan is here with me in the studio. If you've got a question for him, please call, text or email.